Hi everybody. So I haven't made like a really good video of me like talking or anything in a long time. Today someone asked me to do a video of like what I do with Karma basically, and I already have kind of a video of this out, but it's an easy video and I don't know if I'm going to be filmed riding today, so I'm just going to show you what I do with her before I ride her. And this will just be an updated one since it's fall and it's a little bit different now, and I guess my routine's a little bit different, I don't really know, but I open the gate and Karma usually just comes right up to me. She's a really friendly horse and she loves me. She's a really good girl otherwise, and she listens and she likes her mommy and she loves to be played with and handled and stuff, so that's good. As you can see, Karma has gained a lot of weight, which is a really good thing, and she is getting a lot thicker and her cuts have been cleaned up nicely and she hasn't had any cuts since really. She's wet right there. She might have gotten kissed by Ace. Her new pasture mate Ace. That's him right there. He is 14 years old, I believe. 15 or 14. He's pretty old, but I rode him bareback once and it was pretty fun. He's not mean to Karma. He treats her pretty good. Yeah. Karma, you want to lunge in the ring again? Look at her. She looked at me. She's like, what? She's like, and I'm going to get her right now. Let's see if I can. Don't knock over my camera, please. Come here. Good girl. Her halter is like really dirty. Oops. Don't knock over. No. Karma. Sorry, Karma really likes to knock things over. She's an idiot. You're so naughty. She's like, what are you doing on the ground? Picking up the camera that you knocked over. She's a naughty girl, but she's cute. She's not naughty. She's just curious. Yes, I love you, but you're a stink. You're a stinky. Sorry, this is all tangled. I didn't look at it before I got it. Oh my god. There we go. Okay, come here. Good girl. So that's what I do. I halter my horse, and she's not hard to get because she normally comes right up to me, but since I was talking, she's kind of like, alright, I'm going to look over here to see what's going on. So that's what I do, and I take her out and walk her out of the pasture. Obviously, she can't just jump over the fence. So I gotta latch this. There we go. And Karma's blanket's right there. It's kind of ripped. I get a lot of comments on people liking my blanket and where I get it from. I get it from online. I looked online and you have to measure your horse. You have to measure the width and the length of your horse to get the proper fittings, and someone said that it looked a little bit too big on her, but it's actually a really good size for her, especially since she's only 4 and she could grow a lot bigger. So, well, not a lot bigger, but she could grow like a hand or so bigger, and that's about 4.5 inches. So yeah, people keep asking me, do you jump Karma? Do you jump Karma? How high do you jump Karma? Do you jump her? I'm like, okay, let's put it into these questions. I do not jump Karma very often. And basically, you could just say I don't really jump her at all. But when I do jump her, I do little cross rails, and they're really not high at all. So technically, I don't necessarily jump her. So she will be a hunter jumper though when she is 5. So that is when I will start jumping her regularly. Sometimes this camera goes in and out of zoom, so I'm sorry if it gets unfocused throughout the video. Okay, I'm going to do her brushing routine of what I normally do when I brush her. But I like her to be more so this side, so if someone comes to the stable, she sees them and she doesn't get freaked out. My brushing routine has not changed. I do the curry comb first. A lot of weird stuff on it. And when you're brushing your horse and you want them to, if you're using a saddle, you want to make sure that you're brushing up here, but when you're using a hard curry comb like this it's like solid, you want to make sure you're really careful above their spine because this is a sensitive area and you want to make sure you're not digging this into their spine. So you can do it everywhere else and just be gentle. You know, you can press inwards, but you don't want to hit them with it or anything like that, obviously. I do up her neck, even underneath her mane. And do underneath. If you're using a girth, you want to always make sure you brush underneath and feel around for the dirt so that you get the right areas underneath her stomach. And then up here, it's not really that important when you're riding in an English saddle to have this, but sometimes Western saddles come up pretty far, so you want to make sure you get up here if you're riding Western saddle. And I'm just writing English today, and then maybe bareback after. She's a good girl, but when you're doing their legs, Karma's very sensitive down throughout her legs, so I don't use this on her lower legs, but I use it throughout here where I see dirt that needs to come off, and sometimes I'll scrape it off with her hocks, but I'll be very careful because I don't want to bug her, because it might hurt her leg. Just get all this dirt off. It's going to be kind of stained a little bit, but this is just pulling the dirt out so that when you use your normal brush, then all the dirt is already on the surface. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. You just want to do the same exact thing on each side of your horse. Just like you would lunge your horse on the same side, brush your horse on the same side, girth your horse on the other side, you know what I'm saying? Just want to do everything on the other side. Even when you're doing desensitizing stuff with your horse, you want to make sure you do the same thing on the other side. She is probably like 15, 2.5 if I had to guess. Maybe like 15, 2 something. I don't really know. But I think she's pretty tall. She's a big girl. So then what I do is I brush her mane and tail. We'll start at the bottom of the mane. She has a very long mane right now, and I'm really happy about that, so I'm not going to be cutting it. I love her mane. It's long, but for some reason this part's like really short. I don't really know why. I don't know if something tugged it out or if it got caught on something, but also their manes aren't sensitive, so don't be worried if there's a knot, you know. You want to use some like oil or some sort of like cowboy magic spray to get out knots, but you don't want to, you know, pull on it too much. Even though they're not very sensitive, it could still pull out the hair and make them look weird and uneven. And then when I'm getting through this, I always take out some of the hair because it's more effective when your brush doesn't have a lot of hair in it. We'll do her butt now. A lot of people say not to stand behind a horse, and that's really true. You really don't want to stand behind a horse, but when I use Karma's tail, as you can see, she loves her tail scratched like that. When I do that, she lifts up her tail, and she's like, oh, that feels so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take her tail, and I'm going to pull it to the side. I start up here. People say to start on the bottom, and that's true, but I start up here on these small layers right here, and get them just to be like brushed out a little bit. And I just get these little strands off the side. See, she loves that. She's like, that feels so good. And then I'm just going to take the end of her tail, and I'm going to start brushing up the end of her tail. I brush it from both sides because they can have knots on either side. When I'm riding, it really doesn't matter to have your horse's tail to be completely brushed out because it's not really going to do anything if it is. But just get out knots and stuff, and this will just help so that your horse has easier maintenance when you're coming out here and it doesn't have huge knots when you come back out. So that's why I always make sure I just run my brush through it a couple times to make sure it's not majorly tangled or anything. And so her tail's pretty good. I'm just going to brush it out though because my dad's going to be watching me ride today, so I'm going to make her look really pretty. Whenever my dad comes out, he hasn't come out in a while, but whenever he does come out, I like to make Karma look really good because he bought her for me, and I had wanted her for like an entire year. And I'm surprised she wasn't sold, but I think it was because of the price that they had listed. She was extremely expensive. She was actually $13,000, but they moved the price down to $7,500 online, and so that's kind of expensive for a young horse, I guess. But she has excellent bloodlines. She's half Russian, half Polish, but more so Polish. And Polish Arabians are different from straight Egyptian Arabians because they were bred in Poland, and they were also bred for their personalities, sizes, athletic skills, but certain athletic skills. I think that straight Egyptians are more so for endurance, but then there's also the Russian Arabs that are a little bit smaller than the Polish ones, and Polish ones are supposed to be one of the biggest. So yeah. Then I'm going to finish her body and just swish off the dirt. Just want to flick it out. So I'm just going to finish brushing her. And then you can brush their legs. Her legs are pretty clean because it's been dry weather, so it's not wet or anything. Okay. And then the most important part is picking out their hooves. So I'm going to get my hoof pick. And I'm going to squeeze her leg or just run my hand down. She knows to when I run my hand down. What the heck? She has like metal in her foot. It's like a nail. Oh my gosh. That's so weird. So I just want to make sure I get out all of this dirt, and you want to pick it out downwards because it flicks the dirt away from your face. My nose is running, sorry. And just want to make sure you get all of it out. Make sure there's no rocks or anything in the feet, because that will be really painful while riding. Oh, and then you want to ask for the back foot. I always take their back leg with my knee, and I pull it, and if she kind of bites me on it, I just kind of hold her foot there. People say to like move your hand with them, but I don't really see a need to do that, so she got her foot. My hair's in the way, sorry. You never want to put their feet between your legs though, because then that would capture their legs and they could kick you in the face. And then you could get really injured without getting their foot between your legs, and they don't like that. So just keep their leg out so they can pull it away. And don't capture it in any way so they can't get it out of somewhere else. They feel like they're trapped. They don't like that because it feels really dangerous to them, because they're prey, so they want to make sure that they can always move at all times. And then I'm going to take this leg. Wait for it to put it down for me. Good job. My hair. Good job. You see a foot. And then you just want to take their foot. I always point it upwards so I can get it. It doesn't hurt them or anything. And then I get all this dirt out, obviously, in between their frog. The dirt's going to be mostly packed in between these little areas. I don't even know if you can see me right now. Then I'm going to do the last leg. I always go around so she knows my clock thing work. I always start at that first right leg or whichever way she's facing, and then I go around her body. So I'm going to do the last leg, and she knows that this is her last leg, so she's like, okay. The front feet are always going to be harder than the back feet as well because they have a more space in them. And the back feet are always a little bit more cupped. So they're a little bit easier to get dirt out. Our front feet always have more dirt in them than the back. There. My hair is everywhere. I can't see. Okay. So that is what I do with Karma. And then I put on her saddle. Oh my gosh, my hair's so annoying. I'm gonna grab her saddle and her saddle hat. Oh, excuse me, sorry. I was trying to talk to them. I was talking to them. Also, for you guys that didn't know, I'm also selling my saddle because it doesn't fit Karma as well. And I want to get her more of a medium tree because it just doesn't fit her right. But it's a collegiate jumping saddle. I use it. Oops, dropped my bird. I use it on Karma. Obviously, it's not really another saddle. It's pretty nice looking and it works pretty good, but it's just not for me. And I actually have to push it backwards because it kind of pushes up on her withers and over withers because her shoulders aren't built in yet because she's only 4. So she's not fully filled out yet. And I need to get a saddle that'll fit her now. So if any of you are interested, you can check out my Instagram, Forget the Trot. Yeah, or you can just KIK, Forget the Trot. And I just put on her bib. I always do it on the 3rd hole, and when I first start out, and I always do it on the 2 outside girth straps instead of the middle one. I don't use the middle one. And you're gonna bring it around. I also have to, since Karma, it pulls up. On Karma, I have to do it a little bit farther back than you would on a normal horse. A little bit more, but I have to do it farther back instead of right up here underneath your shoulder line. Good job. I'm gonna pick this side because it's kind of uneven. Here we go. And I always hook up the saddle pad straps underneath so that holds the saddle when she bucks. Because sometimes she likes to buck. But that's just what it happens when you have a younger horse. Then I put on the bridle. You always do it from the left side, obviously, because the buckle is on the side of your halter. And Now I'm going to lunge her up in the